Yes! LeftoverRemains Stencyl tutorials is back! I know, it's been a long time coming. Anyway, so last time I stopped with the menu. Now what I did was I added a background to the menu. Now as you can see, it's just simple, nothing big. I went into GIMP and I made just a little thing right here. And I also made it so that it scrolls upwards at a 7 scroll speed, I guess. I guess that's slow as hell. And also I made two different buttons. I just duplicated them. Now one of them I made it so that when the mouse is pressed on and it's false, because I made it so that the WASD is true and false. So when one of them, ow, I just hit my elbow. When one of them is false, the other one becomes true. Now I could have made it where it said WASD selected question mark and arrow key selected question mark, but it's doing the same thing and it's pretty much just cutting out a little thing. If you want to do that, that's fine. That way you don't get confused. But for me, WASD selected is true or false. So when one is true and the animations are as such, when it's false, it's unpressed. When it's true, it's pressed. Now the arrow keys are slightly different. When WASD is true, it's unpressed. And when it's false, it's pressed. And then when it's clicked on, it's false, true, all that stuff. Now when you go into there, I just also added a little bit of this here so that you can identify with what you're getting yourself into. So as you can see, you can't like click it a bajillion times, so you can only select one at a time. So when WASD is true, it becomes darker, and when that becomes true, it becomes darker. I also made a close option, which I pretty much made the same thing for the options menu. I also added that when the options button is pressed, I create a mouse cursor, which you can do by going into actor, scene, and it'll pull up this thing where it says create actor at blah 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 at front or middle or back. You can, because it's a mouse, as long as it's anchored to the screen, you can put it at 5 or 42 or blah 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 blah, you know, as long as it's within those parameters. So you can put it to 1 and 1 if you want. Or you can put it to 144, 154, and 32. It doesn't matter, because wherever your mouse is on the screen, that's where it's always going to show. But if you're using characters, then obviously that would be best, you know, if you're jumping scenes, which that way it looks as if you're actually transitioning from one spot to another. And then you just choose, and I choose that, and then I popped it right in there, and yeah. So whenever it becomes created, that happens. Now, the thing is, right now these buttons do nothing more than just say what's true and what's false. Now, I made this main character from the Slenderman game that I made, and I made it so WASD selected is equal to true, and set left, which I went to getters, and left and right, and I created an attribute, and I named it left, and then I chose control, and then I clicked OK, and then I did the same thing for right. Now, the thing is, when you're doing a jump, you'll want to have it set to Y speed, and you'll want to have it as a negative number. Why is that, you say? In case you don't know, is because right here, this bottom part right there states where the mouse currently is. Now, if I'm going upwards, it's decreasing. So, obviously, if you put it to a positive number, then you're going to be going straight. So, if you're making an RPG that's kind of like a looking down on the character, then yeah, you're going to want everything up, down, left, right. But I'm just making a 2D right now so you can kind of see what it's all about. Now, the thing is, I can't have it there. I have to make a actor behavior, and we'll name it walk main character, just something, and then we'll make win always when updating. Paste it. Now we're going to attach it before we forget. But the thing is, in settings, we only have a certain amount of controls already available. So we're going to want to name it. So I'm just going to go in here. It's already named as left arrow and left arrow, but I'm going to want to add those just so that I know what I'm working with. And I will do that. And then I'll come down here and it says click here to add a new control. Yeah, I think I do want to add a new control, you know? So I'm going to make this A. Oop. And then I'm going to want that. And then, hang on, I'm getting a call. Anyway, so we're back. Anyway, so where I left off was settings and the controls. Now I made one for A, and I'm going to make one now for D. There we go. I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to leave that as it is, but I'm going to do all the magic in the walk script. So then I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it here. I'll bring it back in. So now if it's false, we're going to have it as, so if it's true, we're going to make it, hang on, Control R will refresh it. So now we have all the changes that we made. Now we're going to switch it to A for left and D for right. And here we're going to leave it as is because it seemed to already have done that for us. Now we're going to save it. And when we go into the scene that we have here, let's go into scenes. We got scene 1. And let's get rid of this thing. I really don't know why I was throwing that in there, but whatever. Now I'm going to want to have some tiles ready to get my freaking mouse. Let's have tile set 1. Why not? We're just going to open. We're going to have, I guess this block will do. And we're going to make this block a square, so it's not going to go anywhere, and it's going to be able to support our character. I'm going to go into scenes, scene, go to tiles. It's already selected. I'm just going to click it, and I'm holding shift down, and I'm going to click over here, and that'll make a nice even line for us. Now I can also go in afterwards and with the fill bucket and just click it once and it'll fill it up for us. Now I'm going to go into actors, but before I do I want to go into physics. And we have a gravitation vertical. That way the character can jump or fall down. Let's make it 85 because it'll simulate gravity here. Don't really know why, but alright. And let's hold it above so you can actually see him dropping. Now, right now it's set to WASD method. So, oh, that's right. I forgot to add. I forgot to add it in, so let's go here. If I forgot to add in the walk, I'm stupid. Anyway, so now we're going to set up the walk cycle, which I should have done at the same time before I did this. So if WASD is equal to true, I also want to make sure that I had this left and right set up, because if I just made this one, it would be a lot harder to do. But I could actually make this also in the main character and leave the main character by himself. So I guess I'll do that right now. So I'll just have all the scripting in this one area, and I'll do it again here. Make this one false. And so when I want X speed, obviously, so X speed, so set X speed to whatever and to whatever. Also, I want to make it so when the attribute left or right is pressed, so I'm going to want to do that too. So if, and if, and we're going to go into user input here. I'm going to go to control. We're going to just plop that right in there. So when it's down, this happens, and when the other one's down, that happens. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to want to make copy, paste it. Oop. When it's released, that way it knows that it has to stop. I'll put that right in there, I'll put that in there. Now, so it saves us time, because if you did WASD, you'd have to sit there and manually select each one. So you'd have to sit there, choose control, and then scroll down the list. This kind of saves you a little bit of time, because when left is down, as you know, when left is down, regardless if WASD is true, it kind of cuts it out. So yeah, we're gonna make X speed, let's make it -5 because we're going left, positive for right, and 0, and 0. And we're going to copy it, and we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to put that in that one. So now when we play, I'm set up as WASD method here, so now you can see him moving back and forth just rather easily. Nothing too fancy, but we're going to obviously get into a little more harder stuff later on. Would that conclude this episode? Let's see, is there anything else I can do? Hope to make more real soon. Yeah, good luck with your games.